What's up? What's up? Happy Father's Day. This is for all the dads out there. I wish you would. Welcome to another edition of Funk from the Front Seat. Oh, we got two special guests in the house today, y'all. My producer back there, Mr. Mark Levy, pulling them up. I got in the house from Georgia. We got Rube in the house. I need y'all to clap your hands like this. We got Jessica from North Kakalaki in the house. So we're going to start with GA. What's up, Q&A down there? What's up, Q-Dog? Georgia, you in the house. North Carolina, you in the house. New York City, what's up? Long Island, Queens, hometown. You know I got y'all locked down. Ohio, what's up, Brenda? What's up, Bootsy? How you doing, Patty? Yo, we gotta turn this shit up. We get ready to ride in the front seat, y'all. Not on the Grind TV. I see some of y'all ain't quite ready yet. I understand. It's all good. Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, Dr. Brookenstein, what's up? Tennessee, Oklahoma, Detroit, Minneapolis, y'all in the house? Woo! Feeling good today, y'all. We got Jessica and Rube with us. We're going to discuss some serious stuff. Going to take you through a little something on the front seat that's been on our minds for a long time. How can we stop this domestic terrorism? Dumpster funk, y'all. Our Black History Spot. Today, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Florida, you in the house. Louisiana, you in the house. Las Vegas, Nevada. What's up, Dawn? Love you, sweetie. California, you in the house. Washington State, Utah, North and South Dakota. Everybody, clap your hands and snap your fingers like this. Yeah, let's get that energy up. Get it up, get it up. Hawaii, Samoans doing the Humpty Hump. Tokyo, I'm Young High, say yo. Japan, Germany, Australia. I got you, France. I got you, Italy. I got you, Dubai. I know y'all watching over there. Africa. I got you, Egypt, Iraq, Iran. I got you. All around the world for this funk. Just made a new friend last night in Ireland. I got you, sweetie. Nothing but the funk from the front seat. Oh yeah, we getting amped up today. Special guest. Ruben's in the house and Jessica's in the house and it's just gonna be like that. Happy Father's Day, all you uncles and nephews and dads out there holding it down. I love y'all. Peru, what's up, Diego? Bring me back some of that Yakima stuff. Woo! Welcome to Funk from the Front Seat. Hope you guys are doing well. It's Father's Day weekend, you know, all that good stuff. And we just chilling. I'm rocking my New York gear today, repping hometown. My Mets are doing well. Hopefully my Knicks will draft well. We got two beautiful, amazing entrepreneurial type, you know, strong queens on today. And I wanted to bring them on specifically so we could chop it up and talk about some of this domestic violence stuff. But before I do, I had this special message going out to, you know, my peeps in Ukraine. I met this lady yesterday in my car when I was working Uber, and I was talking to her. She has a son and a husband in Kiev. So, yeah, luble you, tebe, to you out there in Ukraine. I got y'all, man. We love you. Um, it's deep over there. And we won't get into everything that they're dealing with right now, but we know what that's about. But we got our own problems over here that we're going to talk about today a little bit. So without further ado, my producer, Mr. Mark Lee, main man behind the glass, keeping it funky, keeping it fast. Thank you, Mr. Mark. I appreciate you, man. I love you, bro. Let's bring in these ladies, man, and let's start. Funk from the front seat. Crank up that engine. Sit back, relax. Just know that we got you. It don't matter. We got you. It's all good. We got you. Hi, Rube. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I am pumped up now. I know you probably said, wow, this guy was all reserved and now he's jacked. I love the surprise of people that don't know that for the first time. So thank you. I get jacked when we start. And we have Jessica from North Carolina. How you doing?
I'm great this morning. I'm still technically a Georgia girl. I consider myself from Georgia. I've only been here. I'm barely from North Carolina. It's still new. I'm in between states right now. We're trying to figure out where I'm going to stay. We'll see.
So you identify with Georgia then?
Yeah, I was 30-something years of my life were in Georgia. Rube was my best friend, and
oh wow,
I've known her for over a decade.
See, that's what's up, man. That those things are important. That's cool. So here we are, Father's Day weekend. Rube, tell us a little bit about what you do. We were talking before the show, so just give a little insight. First of all, I want to say kudos to your family and to you, because I know you have family members that served in the military. So I want to say a heartfelt thank you to them for putting their life on the line every day, just so people like myself can do what I do, music and this other stuff. So thank you to your family and your friends, and support that. And Jessica, you as well, Jay. I'll call you Jay. To you as well, if you have people in the military, and anybody out there serving that has people, it's kind of cool. I feel weird today because I forgot to turn my AC up. So it's really hot.
You forgot.
What? Because I have it so cold in the house. So when I came home last night, I felt like I was in an igloo. But now I just forgot before the show started. So at some point, I'll take care of that when we do our halfway break. But yeah,
I'll never forget.
So thank you. Yeah. I keep my apartment really cold, but when I came home, it was like ice cubes. I was like, I got to turn it down a little. I usually keep it at like 68. So right now I'm burning up. So if you see me squirming around, that's what it is. But thank you, to everybody out there watching the show today, Not on the Grind TV. And today we're going to get into, some serious stuff, domestic terrorism, as we see it. Again, this is just our opinions, not the opinions of StreamYard platform that I'm on. Thank you, or Facebook or YouTube or any of that. It's just our opinions. We're just chopping it up. So, Rue, tell us a bit about what you do, because you mentioned working on a hot tin kind of roof thing.
I guess technically my title is an architectural sheet metal worker. Wow. We do gutters, roofs, anything metal you can put onto a structure. My job does it. I do fabrication and installation. We work with copper, aluminum, stainless, regular steel, varying thicknesses. Is pretty cool. Yeah, it's really warm at times. I will say that, but I think the coolness factor outweighs it.
Yeah, I'm always terrified. I see you in your videos, and show me photos of you up on these like giant ladders, and I'm like, what is she doing? I'm like, oh my gosh, what is she doing right now? She's my hero. I'm terrified of heights. I'm blessed her every day. I'm like, this girl, she's like the coolest person I know.
Yeah. When did you guys meet? At what point?
Because she's my best thing I ever found on Craigslist.
It was right or left?
Yeah, literally a random Craigslist roommate situation. I was like, I think I was 20, 19, 20, somewhere there. And, she put out I needed a roommate in an apartment I was living in down in Atlanta. And she applied, and I was hungover that day. I looked at her. I'm like, she'll do. I hadn't the next day she moves in with this giant, beautiful white German Shepherd. She's got like, her hair is like 8 different colors, the rainbow, paperclip jacket together. Bobby, I'm like, this safety pins, I'm like, this girl's my best friend. You know, she was cool. She had all kinds of great artwork. We totally vibed on art, on music, on, you know, we were totally broke together. So, you know, when you got no money, you starving together, having to, you know, drag toilet paper from restaurants. That's kind of how it brings you together. It makes you really close. Toilet paper wars before toilet paper wars were a thing, you know?
That's funny.
Yeah.
Broke together.
Yeah, that's how we became best friends. We, you know, we're burning candles, you know, we got no lights, we got to entertain ourselves, you know? So.
Yeah. So, Rube, when you first met Jessica and you guys were hanging out or whatever, did you think, you know, at some point, you know, you'd be have this bond and this lifelong friendship thing? Because y'all seem like y'all are really cool, man.
I did not, honestly. At the time, I even after, I've had a run of horrible roommates. I can't pick roommates to save my life. So when I met Jessica, I was like, I hope this person isn't crazy. She doesn't look crazy. She put on clothes today. She can form words, which is more than I can say for a few people that I've lived with. Like, she looks like she has a job. You know, she's got a car. She's got stuff in the apartment. The walls are painted. There's artwork on the wall, so she's probably creative. Like, cool, I might not die. We might not lose our place to live. I think our bar was set pretty low when we were looking for a roommate. And I think that's the best thing that came out of it. You know, we didn't really expect to be in each other's lives 10 plus years later.
Yeah, and become as close as we are. I mean, my family adores her. I love her parents, and you know, I was there in her wedding and love her husband. He's he and I are besties now. He doesn't know, but we're best friends. He doesn't know.
Right. Yeah. See, that's dope. I tell you, nothing against no Kelly, and you know I'm from New York, Jess. So, and Rube, I'm from New York. I've been living down here. Mark is literally my best friend, my producer. You know, does some management stuff for my band, so he is my go-to down here, right? And you know, when you said, Jessica, you think about moving back to Georgia, I don't want to push you out of this state, but if I had friends like that, I'd be like, and that nothing was keeping me here, I'd be like, I'm out.
I can't be down Georgia. I left. I can't go back yet. I might. Let's see how it works out.
And I get it. I understand. You know, I understand. I have my reasons for not wanting to go back to New York, mainly the shoveling of the snow.
Yeah, right. Although this hot summer, I may as well stay in Georgia. It's gonna be this hot. God, may as well.
Yeah. So, of course, you know, we're here about a serious subject today. We have so many different opinions in this world today about the world itself. You know, lately, I know a lot of people have been trying to come together, and it seems like we can. But the thing is, we can't get our information to the right people that we tend to vote for or support. And that's a problem I have. And I've been having this, I'm 64, and I've been having this problem for the past 30 years, 40 years. Once I really understood, because in my 20s, I never voted. I'll be honest with people. I didn't care. I was like living the life of a 20-year-old. My 30s, once in a while. Then my 40s, I was like, you know, I better start paying attention to the political climate a little bit, you know. But from what I can tell, we put lines on everything. It's almost like there's never a gray area. It's like whatever the subject is, automatically everybody runs to a side away from each other instead of coming together at a table and saying, okay, let's try to sit down. I'll understand your point of view. You understand mine, but let's work on the common goal. And I think we all on this panel, including Mark, will be on later, and everybody out there watching would agree we're in a crisis situation now when it comes to shootings, mass shootings. Your opinion, Rube, sorry.
It's okay. I would agree. I don't like a lot of the division. I feel like it hurts us more than helps us.
Amen.
One of the most glorious things about mine and Jay's friendship is that while we disagree on a lot of stuff, we're able to find a common ground if we just sit down and talk about it. Nowadays, everybody is so single-minded. Oh, you don't believe the way I do? Well, I can't talk to you.
Right.
You know, nobody's going to grow and nobody's going to find solutions that way.
Amen.
Everybody's just so close-minded.
Yeah. Jay.
And when I say things to Rubes, you know, again, we come from very different backgrounds, although I think how we were raised in some ways was very similar. And when we became friends, you know, I didn't know what her political leanings were. We didn't really discuss politics for most of the beginning part of our friendship. And when I'm like, it was actually, I was surprised. I had no idea because, you know, I just saw this awesome person, loved a lot of things that I loved. I didn't think that she was conservative on this things or right leaning on this and voted this way, opposite that I do. And when we began talking about it, I'll say for our entire friendship, we have never been in an argument. It's always been a discussion, even when we disagree. Yeah. And when it comes to issues like, you know, gun rights or Second Amendment or, you know, domestic violence in the country, we're differing opinions on it, but I have found that she's one of the best people I like to talk to about this because she gives me a perspective that I'm not, you know, I may not have considered. And what I love the most about her is that she's just really humble and she's willing to kind of just listen to what you have to say.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
You know, we've always had great conversations about this. So I'm kind of glad we get to kind of do it in public a little bit.
Yeah. And, you know, this is just the first of many. Rube, you'll be back. Jay, you'll be back because when I do series like this, it's always like a 3-4 part series. So we don't have to get to everything today because I want to peel back these onion layers. And this show is about peace, love, and harmony. So we want to make sure that, you know, your opinion, and those tuning in, watching, you know, as well as Mark's opinion will be fully expressed. Something that bothers me, and like I said, over a period of time lately, is that I think somehow, and I don't know how this is going to work. You guys can give me your opinion about it. We have to rebuild on the fly our political system, you know, because it's running, but it's almost like, Rube, if you were building a house and then somebody says, hey, you know what, this infrastructure is bad, but you got to still keep doing it. You got to kind of do it on the fly. You know what I'm saying? You know, so it's like, we have to do that because we have too many decision makers on every level. It's just way too many people. Excuse my French. I rarely do this. It's way too many fucking people. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes my New York has to come out so people understand what I'm saying. We have too many people to even make a simple phone call today to call T-Mobile. I got to speak to like 5 people, you know, and a robot or 2. So that's something that I want to peel back first before we even get into the domestic terrorist thing, because it seems to me the more pies, more hands in the pie, the horrible or worse the pie is tasted. You know, your opinion, Jay?
I think we have too many cooks. I mean, there's, you know, too many cooks in the kitchen, and and every 4 years we try to change that cook. And then there's like he's got his team or her team, and they're in there, and then it's just, I may not like their stuff. I'm like, I didn't order that, and they're like, well, this is what we want, but it's not. But it's never what anybody wants. It never tastes good. It's never good. So no matter who it is, it's all
the meal sucks.
High. I don't want it.
And we still got to keep paying the check.
Yeah, it's more expensive now too. So.
Hit me with that. What do you think?
I agree. I think one of my biggest issues is, regardless of how many years a president is in, you have these same people that have had the same career, and they outnumber the president. You have senators and everybody else that's made a lifetime career out of it. So it's no wonder nothing changes. You have 60 years of the same mentality that fights the president. So he can make all the promises he wants, but he's still got to, you know, win over hundreds of other people that just keep everything hung up in the voting process.
And they don't go away. You can't get them out. It's like, if I want job security, let me work in the government. Let me work in Congress. I've never seen, you know, so many careers, people that can do such a bad job, consistently do a bad job. And yet, you have to be bad. I think it's like almost requirement. You have to suck at your job more times than you do well to stay in there. Otherwise, they'll kick you out.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only way to stay in is to not do a good job. It's to suck. That's the best way to stay.
I gotta agree with you both 100% because I would have to say if anybody did any job this badly for so long, like not only would they get kicked out, we would probably take them to court, you know what I'm saying, and sue them just because of how bad of a job they actually were doing. Day in, day out, week in, week out, like Ruth said, month in, month out, 6 years, and you haven't like done nothing, you know. I always said, like, back when we were in high school, we used to have a saying, and we used to be like, nobody would take, back then the job paid $150,000 to be president, right? I'm dating myself, but it was a minute. So we used to say nobody would spend millions to take a $150,000 job if they didn't plan on stealing it all back. My economics teacher told me that. He was radical way before his time. He hated everything about the government. I
don't think any president's going in for the salary. That's not why you become president. Like, that's not the money.
It's
that's not what that's not the money. That's your legal salary. That's not the money you're actually making.
Yeah,
you're fine.
Right.
That's not real. That's not like you take this. I'm like, he doesn't. That's not the important part. It's not the salary that he wanted. Like that's
it's the perks.
He's not spending it. Whatever.
Exactly, man. So we've been we're blessed today to have Funk from the Front Seat, Not on the Grind TV, every Saturday, 12 p.m. We're blessed today to have Rube from Georgia taking time out of her busy schedule, as well as Jay taking time out of her schedule on this happy Father's Day weekend. Tip of the cap to all the dads. I wore my Mets hat today because my father was a huge Mets fan, as am I. So bless you, Reverend Robinson, for, making me the preacher's kid, crazy maniac that I am. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Preacher's kid too. I feel you.
That's why we relate. Somebody once told me when the devil can't get at the preacher, he goes after the kids. I said,
he got me.
He got me. Yes, yes. I rode with him for many years. I was his ride or die for many years, He still be trying to get me now and then, but see, I got enough stuff now to shake him off. But he taps at my door every now and then,
Okay. I'm open.
Yeah. That's hilarious. You funny. We had some serious stuff happen since Columbine where this movement started sweeping the country, which wasn't new, but it was brought back to the surface, right? Now, Columbine, I'm going back sometime, and of course in California and everywhere else, But starting back then, when that first happened, it was like, wow, this could really happen to our kids. You know what I mean? And since then, here we are. Nothing has changed. Since January, I did the stats, and Mark's going to pull up some stats later. We've had 27 school shootings since January. Some big, some small. You know what I mean? And before we get into the actual weaponry of it all, do you think mentally unstable people are copycats? Or do you think they all have their own agenda? Because that's something that I think about at night. I wonder if this person has the agenda or copycats. So, Rube, I'll let you, speak on this first. And Jess, you can get it. Jay, you can get in.
I think it depends on what mentally their instability is. There's some people that are so unstable, they're seeking approval, or they would be seeking an impactful way to be seen or heard. And
Amen.
If they notice that shooting a school is the most impactful way to be noticed, then yeah, I could say they would be a copycat. Some people are so angry and so frustrated. As a kid, my mom had to battle the public school system on putting me on medication. I'm from the generation of No Child Left Behind. So your kid gets bored in class because they already know the material and they start acting up. The solution shouldn't be to drug your child because they're smart enough to figure this stuff out before everybody else. I wound up being taken out of the public school system. But, let's think about how many of those kids have been sent to a counselor for something wrong or have been ignored when they came to someone for help. How many of those kids wound up on drugs they didn't need to be put on because instead of dealing with the issue, we're going to medicate it and sweep it underneath of the rug. I don't know the history of all of the people that have shot up the schools, but there's a lot of frustrated people in our society, and I don't think someone just wakes up one day and just goes, you know what? I think I'm going to go kill a bunch of kids. Let's just go do that. There's got to be a reason for targeting that.
Yeah,
right. Absolutely. I think you're spot on there, Rubes. It's kind of like it's hard for us because we're relatively sane people. I mean, we're not always sane, but we're relatively, some marbles left in our brains. Not, got a couple left. But for those that are insane or that we think that would do something so heinous, and we're like, well, I can't understand that. Well, it doesn't make sense to us because we don't plan to do that right now. But I think if you've ever suffered from depression, most people don't, like right now I'm fine. I can't imagine, getting up and then going to harm myself right after. I couldn't imagine. That's not what I would. I'm in a good mood. I'm happy. I'm having a great day so far. But I've also, had suffered from chronic depression. So I do know the cycle that it starts off very small, and then day by day, month by month, if I'm not, taking care of myself and, being aware of everything, it's like a very sudden descent, and you're like, you don't know what you're capable of. Yeah. Now, I've never wanted to harm others, but if that's something that were in me, I could. If you don't have the tools, you don't have the relationships around you, and you have easy access to, I'd say to guns, whether it's legal or illegal, if your family owns them and you are depressed, and angry, you're going to use whatever means you can to harm yourself and to harm others. Yeah, so but that doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. And so the people that are around you need to be aware of that. You need family, and teachers and people that you trust that are going to kind of look out for you and kind of, catch those signs, that are trained to look for them and can get in the way before you. Most gun violence in the country isn't, these things are horrific, right? No one wants them, but most of them it's suicides and homicides, like, one-on-one and, poor conflict resolution, to say the least, or it's, depression and you kill yourself. That's usually what gun violence is in this country. That's the most of it.
Yeah.
So, I think we have a lot of depressed people in this country, a lot of people that are suffering. So, and then they also have access, and it can easily, no matter how sad they are, they can go out and purchase a weapon to harm themselves and to harm others. So that's kind of so it's mental health, and it's also their access to those guns in that state. That's the biggest problem, in my opinion.
You're right, and I agree. And I just want to just double back on something that Rube said. And thank you for joining us today. We have Rube from Georgia, and we have Jay from North Carolina, and we're speaking on this domestic terrorism situation that we're in. Seems to be manifesting itself daily. But I agree with you 100%, Rube, because I think, yes, there are some therapeutics that need to be administered to young people. But across the board, I hate it. And I always say, and this is another show, but I always say the medical industry, we all know, some of us that got our third eye open, that they have an agenda. And their agenda is to get customers 20 years from now. And the quickest way to get customers 20 years from now is to screw kids up now. And I'm dealing with that personally. So I get it. I hate the fact that we have to do that. It was like, well, go outside and burn off some energy first, or let me try to talk to this person, or give them a different learning environment.
Yeah, give people a way to make sense of themselves.
Yes, exactly, because everybody does not learn the same way. Some people are visceral, some people write, some people are creative. If I would have had every one of my courses in school be music and artistic classes, I would have gotten straight A's, and I'd have cum laudes kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
So, you know what I mean? But yeah, I agree with you. Thanks for bringing that up, because I'm going to do a show about that soon. So let's start with some breakdowns of some sensible gun laws. In your opinion, what do you feel? And I'm not talking handguns. I'm not talking, grandma who keeps a 32 under her pillow. I'm talking about the assault weapons. And you, Rube, having military people in your family, I'm curious as to how they may see this situation. So feel free to add some of their stories as well. Feel free. This is an open invitation thing. Plus, where's your cockatiels? I thought they was going to pop on.
The cockatoos are hanging out, napping on their trees.
Okay.
Generally, I try to let them be in their own space.
Yeah. Yeah.
They can be a handful.
I'm sure they're listening. They're like, oh, this is different.
Fred is watching. Taz is sitting there taking a nap. I tried to put her on the stool next to me, but she was like, "Nah, I don't want to watch the computer."
Yeah, this not interested. Yeah,
I'm not interested.
But yeah, sensible gun laws. We have a lot of them on the books. Granted, we do. But then some, to me, my personal opinion, again, are not so sensible. You know, 18-year-olds on their birthday, like certain areas, maybe, but I can't see assault weapons being sold, me personally, and definitely can't see a backpack full of ammo walking out the door of any establishment without some type of, hey, wait, you can't have all of that.
I have some questions. I mean, like how much, if you just turn, I'm like, okay, this seems a little excessive. Like this, I mean, I know you don't want to, I don't believe in, I do support the Second Amendment. And more so because it's a right that wasn't open to everybody originally, and some of the people have fought for and died for us to have that right. So I respect it. But I'm like, you should probably have some. I mean, if I was selling to someone that came in and like, oh, okay, yeah, you have that. You want all of this? Well, let me go to the back. Oh, you want more? So you want more? Oh, what do you? I can't ask questions. I can't have some concerns. I can't tell you no. Like, what is? I mean, it's kind of a concern. But then again, I never bought a weapon. I don't know the full process state by state. But I don't. It doesn't take that long, And I know they've definitely kind of pulled those questionnaires. There's not many waiting periods. You just turn 18 and you can go in, and for a lot of people, you can just fill paperwork. They do a quick background check. Yeah. Same day or maybe next day, and then you can go buy it. You have the money. I guess it's okay, but I do have questions. If you're buying those weapons when you're 18 years old, we don't let them drink. You don't let them. They can't buy a pack of cigarettes. They're 21. So maybe we should wait. A handgun, you have to wait till you're 21. I don't see why we can't do the same for automatic rifles or for long guns.
Agreed.
To my knowledge, 18-year-olds can't have, or at least in Georgia, you can't have a handgun. You can have permission to transport, but you can have, I think you can have like a shotgun, hunting weaponry. But I also find it kind of disturbing that at the age of 18, you can sign away your life and agree to go kill a man in a foreign country and be essentially owned by the government. But you may not drink alcohol. You may not buy cigarettes. You may not buy a vape. You may not walk into a paraphernalia shop. You can't buy a vape. I think I already said a vape, but you can't even buy juice for it. You can't buy any of that stuff, but you're allowed to have something that can kill somebody. You can't kill yourself slowly, but you can have something that can kill somebody, and you can go get killed yourself. I kind of find conflict with that. I don't really agree with it. You need to pick one. Are they old enough or aren't they old enough? And I think at the age of 18, I think there needs to be a little more time for that frontal lobe to form before we start making decisions like that. I don't disagree with being able to protect yourself, but personally, I don't know if I would trust some random 18-year-old on the street to protect me. I know Ash has had plenty of training. He went into the military. They taught him how to use these things. But some random 18-year-old fresh out of high school probably isn't going to take the time to go to a gun range to learn how to take care of their weapon, to learn how to use it properly. I don't want that kid running around.
I agree, and I believe everything you ladies are saying. Again, we're hanging out with these two lovely ladies, from two different parts of the East Coast, two different states, and this is a very necessary subject that we need to talk about. And what I agree with both you ladies is that you both have unique insight into this problem that we all feel pressure from, no matter where we are now. You could be at the mall and hear a car backfire. You're like, oh shit, Is it, you know what I'm saying?
Scary.
You know, somebody drops a plate. I was at Chick-fil-A the other day. A lady dropped a plastic plate. And of course I'm heightened anyway because of New York. But I'm like, damn, you know, don't hurt me. You know, it's just that.
I went to the exit door every time. Like, where we go to a public space, like, all right, where are my exits, Dad? I want to sit in the middle. We're sitting ducks out here. We got to be towards the end.
Yes. And
I'll think only.
You're right. And to get to something you said, Jay, it's like, you know, you do have questions like, okay, you want all of this. It's almost like the people that they claim, you know, hey, I want to learn how to fly the 747, but landing, don't worry about that. I got that. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to know how to land, you know, but I just need to know how to fly. You know, get me in the air and I'll figure out the rest. It's like, it's the same thing. It's like, why am I selling you like a backpack full of clips and I got mothers that can't get breast milk? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Things like this, like you said, Rube, it's like, come on, make a side, pick a side. Either we're going to be federal or not. I get every state has their regional aspect of culture. Be they black, white, Chinese, Asian, whatever. I get that. You know, New York, I grew up in the melting pot. But I don't like it that when you send a kid off to war, young lady, young man, and then they get shot full of holes, God forbid they come back dead. And then we have this whole big thing like, you know, hey, you know, we're sorry. And, you know, the government will give you your severance pay to the family. And that's so sad because these same people are in the same danger when they come back. You know, like your family, if they've been in the military or not, they're still in that zone, that kill zone, I call it, because that's what it is. There's a mass group of people in one spot. Somebody decides, hey, that's where I can go do this thing. You know what I mean? And that's the scary part to me. It's almost like we're being set up. And I'll get into my Illuminati theories later. But it's almost like we're being set up, you know. We're going to take a short break. We're hanging out right now. You guys stay right there with Jay and Rube. Rube is nice enough to join us from Georgia. Jay from North Carolina. You ladies are lovely. As we kick in this thing about domestic terrorism. Mark, you know, I do love to hear, and when we come back, we got some stats we're going to show everybody. But I do love to hear Keith Jackson's voice. So, Mark, you know my man Keith Jackson. I love him. And also, Mark, I do like to hear, Chrissy Key Rollins' voice as well, because we haven't shown her segment in a second. So, you ladies hang out. I appreciate you guys. Hope you guys are having a good time. Y'all stay active on the chat line. You can find us all over YouTube. All my shows are free. Thumbs up, thumbs down, likes, whatever y'all want to do is fine with me. I don't care. So, you know, we're going to show this spot really, really fast. And I'd like to hear your opinion out there, you know, around the world. Please tag, you know, let us know, get on Facebook. And, you know, if I don't hit you today, I'll get back at you, because this is going to affect all of us going forward in a big way. And the summertime is just getting started, you know. So, Mark, you got that queued up for me? Go for it, bro.
Hey, this is Keith Jackson with P-Funk Radio, inviting you to check out my brother Zach Robinson with Funk from the Front Seat. Saturdays, 12 noon on the East Coast and 9 a.m. on the West Coast. It all happens on 9 on the Grind TV and also on YouTube. Great guest, great conversation each and every Saturday. That's Funk from the Front Seat with Zach Robinson on 9 on the Grind TV and YouTube. Check him out.
Hey, it's Chrissy Key Rollins here with Holistic Restoration, inviting you to check out Zach Robinson with Funk in the Front Seat. He drops new episodes every Saturday at noon on the East Coast time, and replays are posted for whenever you miss a live stream. You can find him on 9 on the Grind TV and also on YouTube, and get ready for the funk, because he brings it every week, along with hot topics, amazing guests, and great conversations. Again, that's Zach Robinson with Funk from the Front Seat on 9 on the Grind TV and YouTube. Go check them out.
And thank you for joining us. We're back. We're hanging out with Rube and with Jay. She probably went to turn up her AC just like I just jumped up to turn up. That's why you see me dead. When you see the commercial come on, just so you know, that's when you got a chance to do whatever it is because we're technically not on the air. But that's dope. You ladies have been gracious enough to share your time with us in space, and we really appreciate it. And I'd like to thank JTRP, Gabe Gonzalez, Robin Circular P, Larry Funkster Jones. Also, my man Philly Phil down in Texas, get on the funk bus. Of course, much love to Brenda Honeybee Robinson, Bootsy and Patty. I love you up there in Ohio. The Funk Chronicles, Mr. David Webb, HD Entertainment, Kane and Jams, Tony Cam, who I can't wait to perform with. He's going to be down here with us July 2nd, and I will be with him September up in Bethesda Blues Club doing a Funketeers Ball, not the Ed Funk Army. Oak City Music Collective down here, Afterglow 92416, right there in the town of Georgia, where Rube is at. Afterglow 924 Q&A. Brooke Clagett, my funk angel, love TXS energy drinks, which I don't have any today to show you, but I get them from my brother that does like some Amway products. Patricia Dioria, Curtis Wilcox, and Georgia Funkavinci doing my artwork back there for my band and for the show. Dr. Brookenstein, as always, I love you, bro. I know you're watching. You take care of my website, and you are the man. And everybody out there watching, please tune in. Go to YouTube, watch all the shows, pull them up, use them as you like, because these are very informative times, and we need some informative people. That's why we have Rube from Georgia and Jay. Welcome back to the second part of the show. I had a list of stuff, but I'm kind of bouncing all over. But I'm trying to stay in order.
I mean, we can kind of hop around. It's fine. We'll pick it up.
No, we're doing just fine. We're
agents of chaos. We're fine. We'll figure it out.
We're rocking it. This is what's up. Do you think like we need more gun enthusiastic people that are into their guns for whatever the reason to step forward and join this fight? Because I don't know. Maybe they are. Maybe I just don't see them because I'm not in that community. But do we have enough people that support the Second Amendment that say, hey, I support the Second Amendment, but I don't want to go to the mall and come home in a body bag? You know what I'm saying?
I think if not everybody feels that way. There are a few people that are just that care, that are, I call them ideologues, or like that are. Freedom is. I say this with some trepidations. I don't mean this in a negative way, like that they put their Second Amendment right, freedom over, like that is more important in at least a little bit than the opposite to them. It's like, okay, well, of course I care about human life, like I don't want anyone to die, but if the only way to prevent gun deaths or all that suffering is for me to give up my right to own something that is my legal right, then no, that's the only way. Then I guess we're just gonna have to live with it. I get why that would be distasteful to some, but I have to also respect that point of view. This is the right that you have in this country. It's like as if, we said that the only way to cure, violence of any kind was to give up our right of free speech. We just didn't say anything. Everyone had control over anything we said and everything. We had no free speech protected in this country. Was the only way to ensure that these things wouldn't happen. I feel like a lot of people would probably like, I don't know how much I'm willing to give that up. So I think that's kind of what the two sides are. So when you say, I think a lot of gun owners really care about people, and I've listened to Matthew McConaughey when he went to Congress a couple weeks ago, and he brought up a really interesting point, saying that people that love the Second Amendment, people that are responsible gun owners, are really sick and tired of all these lunatics, how he phrases crazy people, misusing the Second Amendment, right? So I think there's a lot of frustration on both sides, and I think there's a lot of most gun owners that I personally know. I'm from Georgia. Most people are gun owners down the South. They're good people. I've never been afraid of anyone that I've known who's owned a gun. So
same. What do you think, Rube?
I think to eliminate the right to own guns would still not get to the root of the problem. One of the biggest issues is you have illegal gun trade. And you also have people that are wildly untrained with weapons that are pretty powerful. I mean, back to assault rifles. How many of these people actually handle them properly? They're very high powered. They can shoot a long distance. Is it really necessary that you have one? And if you have one, just how well can you operate it? I think, oh boy, I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. So I was thinking, I thought you reminded me of something you said earlier, and I wanted to, that jot in my memory. When you brought up the lack of training, I'm like, I feel like, I use the analogy of pilots. Like, you can't just, no matter, let's say planes were affordable for regular people, you could, even still, no matter how affordable it is, I don't care if you're a billionaire, right? You cannot just go buy a commercial plane and go put people on the plane and go in, and go fly a plane. You can't. You have to train. You got to do service hours. You got to do on the ground training. Then you have someone in there. You can get small planes. You can do helicopters. You have to do certain types. So depending on the type of airplane you want to fly, you have to go to flight school. You have to do hours of training to be able to fly that's a weapon. It could be a weapon. It could kill people. And I want my pilots to be highly trained. Now, I don't know if you need to have I don't want a pilot that's not, I'm an enthusiast. I like planes. Let me go buy a commercial airline. You're like, well, I can't get on Delta. I'm like, hey, I got you. Get on my plane. I bought it this morning. Let's go get on my plane. It's fine. Well, I'll get you to DC. I'm like, I don't know if that's a good idea. Like, I don't think you should be. That's kind of how I look at it. Like, there should be some requirements. I mean, acceptance for military. You have to have some sort of, to buy a car. You still have to have a license. You have to spend time. You have to drive it, train on it. You can't just get in you can, but that's not really a good idea.
I like that you said highly trained.
Yeah.
That's why I was laughing. Not trained, highly trained.
Yeah, I want my pilot to be extra. I want him to be BMO. He has to be old. I want to see he's got some wisdom. Like, he's been flying for 20 years,
Same.
25. He's an ex-military. Like, he was, he's a veteran. He's like, this is like driving. It's like me driving a van. Like, I used to fly like fighter jets. This is nothing. Like, I want that kind of like a stoic, grizzle looking like pilot who's seen like real war. That's the guy I want flying my plane. He was at Nam. He was, I want that guy.
Yeah,
my pilot.
I think Rube was mentioning, Rube, we were speaking and you were mentioning about, we were talking about the enthusiasts stepping forward a little bit. And I agree. I think the Second Amendment is a necessary thing. I don't personally own any guns. I had one once upon a time that was handed down to me and I ended up giving it away. But at the same time, I don't want to take anybody's right away if they want to hunt, they want to target shoot. If grandma wants to keep one under her pillow and she lives in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, I'm not for taking a life, but I understand how certain people and certain areas and certain fears and crime, because I think, Rube, where you were going is criminals are always going to get the guns. They're not the ones we're talking about. We got to figure out a way how to, Jay just said so eloquently, what training do you have? What knowledge of this weapon? Are you like buying this weapon for what? Like, I heard somebody saying, I don't watch TV at all. I rarely do. And somebody said, oh, well, they shoot prairie dogs. And I was like, I don't know how big a prairie dog is. I'm from the city. It must be like the equivalent to a giant subway rat. I don't know. But what is the prairie dog doing to you that you got to chop them up like that? Like, what is an animal? Last I checked, prairie dogs aren't going to knock on your door and be like, yo, I'm here to jack you. So then you get out your weapon. You're like, no, little prairie dog. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't get that. Is that an excuse? Do you think?
No.
For an AR, probably not.
I have a story for you about a prairie dog gopher situation. We have one at my shop, and he lived in the woods. They do a lot of damage to your yard. They dig holes. They're like, gophers and prairie dogs are very similar. They destroy your plants. You want to have a garden. They dig holes like chipmunks do all around your house and through your yard. And the creature we have living at the shop has lived underneath the vehicles that have been parked, and he's destroying the vehicles. He gets up in there and chews the wiring and stuff. And my boss tried to shoot him. I can't remember which gun he had, but, logically you think wharf rat sized animal, gun should kill it. Apparently they have incredibly thick skulls, and you need a pretty high powered weapon to kill this creature. He shot the animal in the face and there was no damage.
Would they consider trapping these things? Can you trap it? Is there a way to get it in some kind of cage? Possibly.
But they are very destructive creatures. I have no doubt that he could chew out of the cage. I don't know if we've tried to call pest control to trap him. I mean, that sounds pretty expensive, and he's predominantly outdoors. He's not indoors. What are you going to do? Try to put an entire vehicle in a wire cage and catch him in it?
I was just curious.
I don't know how to go about trapping him. I'm curious. He doesn't exactly have a specific home since we relaid asphalt in our parking lot.
Yeah. I was just curious only because, again, that's why I have you guys on, because so I can get some of this knowledge. But Mark,
I didn't know that about them. That's crazy.
Me neither. I had no idea.
And he's just bulletproof. We need whatever. We need to make vests out of his skull. We need to learn something from this guy. That's what I want.
Apocalypse vest is gopher skulls.
Yeah.
But Mark, I want you to hold this stat up for a second, right? And we pull up some stats. You guys feel free to go back and watch the show. We're going to be running them through. But this is one of the stats that was astounding to me. Afro-American students make up 16.6% of the school's population. That's a very small. But they experience school shootings at twice the rate, which is about like 29.4%, right? So is it because how do weapons of mass, like I call it mass destruction, but how do these weapons get into these communities where there are no Black-owned ship lines, there are no Black-owned railways or trucking companies that massive that could smuggle in illegal guns? So I see this as part of that Illuminati thing, but that's just my personal opinion. Right?
I think let's take for Chicago, for instance. Everyone wants to quote Chicago. They say, well, Chicago has some of the strictest gun laws in the country. Sure, but everywhere around Chicago does not. It's not that hard to go to go somewhere else to go have a friend somewhere else to buy it, and then through those gun show, like those loopholes where you can sell it as a third party, so you don't have to report it the same way, right? So and then they don't have to. So if I purchase a gun in, say, a neighboring town or state, and then I sold it, it's like the straw purchase law, I think. Something about straw purchases. I sold it to someone else. I don't think I have to do a background check. I did for me when I purchased it, but when I sell it as a private seller, I don't think I have to. Depending on what state I'm in, I don't have to do a background check of that next. I just have to record the sale, and then that person can sell it, and then so on and so forth. So that's one way that a lot of people are able to purchase weapons, and how there's no tracking of that gun after that first initial purchase. So if everyone's, if you're a criminal and enterprise, right, and a gang or whatever, that's one of the ways that they're doing it is that way.
You're right. And Rube, I want you to jump in, but it says 85% of these shooters brought them from their own home. But Rube, get in here.
I could go down an Illuminati rabbit hole as well.
I'll go with you. Let's go.
I feel like there's been a lot of targeting certain communities throughout the history of the world, but also throughout the history of America. They really like experimenting on impoverished people and setting them up to destroy themselves. And there's some conversations that me and some of the people that I know have had where it seems like certain communities are set up to keep a certain income level maintained. And while it may have been intended for a certain type of people or a certain race of people to live there, it seems nowadays it's just that income line that stays there. And then they find ways, they filter in drugs, they filter in this frustrated, stuck, and can't rise above this income level, can't find a way to, keep up the house and take care of the kids. You create this mindset that's already frustrated and volatile, and then you just feed them guns and let them destroy themselves. You don't have to get rid of them.
Well said.
They'll do it themselves.
Well
And
said.
a lot of Black families have been stuck in that area.
Yeah, well
Yeah.
said. Well
That's
said.
did that with the crack cocaine, back in the 70s and 80s. So
Mhm.
I guess it wouldn't be completely unheard. I mean, that's my belief. There's good information and research out there that kind of backs it up. But again, I wasn't there. I don't know if that's for sure. But that certain drugs were purposefully put into those communities by, I don't know if it was police or I don't know who did it, but I don't think it came organically just from Mexico and then
Yeah. It was a
it got
combination.
there.
Like Ruth said, it was a combination. And before the crack cocaine, it was the heroin,
Yeah.
and before that, it was the opium, So it does perpetuate itself. And Native Americans in this country have suffered the worst.
Oh, absolutely.
More so than Black, Mexican, and Hispanic.
Absolutely.
The Native Americans have been exactly how Ruby so eloquently expressed herself with that comment, which was awesome, by the way, have suffered even more of a tragedy because they were given blankets with tuberculosis in it, things like that. And this country is built on atrocities and theft. We know that, so this is the country we live in. We have to make it better.
And I was gonna bring up a quick point on that, was that most of the gun control laws that have been put in place in this country have been to restrict gun ownership from certain groups of people. Historically, they've always been on racial lines. The majority of gun control laws were focused heavily on a lot of African Americans law, and in other communities they said, well, you can't only, it was only for white men to own guns in the that was the original setup, and or women or anyone else to own guns, or you could only have them. And they took, even back when the Black Panthers were around, they made really strict gun laws around that time. They didn't want Black men to own guns. They're like, well, you can rise up and y'all are a problem. So that's the most gun control you're going to see. It's mostly, historically, has been on racial lines.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting that they'll flow in guns in communities, and then they're like, well, see, we have to have these restrictive gun laws because these people, they're criminals. It gives the other side a reason to make them afraid of the criminal.
Yeah.
And it seems it plays very well from a capitalist perspective, from a racial perspective, from making sure that these, gun lobbies and groups are always in power because they're making people afraid of each other.
Yeah. I got a question for both of you, and I'll start with Ruby on this one. Again, we're hanging out with Rube and Jay, and these two beautiful women, have been kind enough to come on the show today, Funk from the Front Seat. I'm going to get Mark in a little bit, not on the Grind TV, so y'all check it out. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers. We love all you guys out there. Thank you for the support. One of the things that I hate is like when America says, well, we're going to not declaring war on another country, which sucks enough, but like we're going to declare war on drugs, or we're going to declare war on this. Now, I can honestly tell you, as a 64-year-old man, and I've lived in several states, actually lived there, I have never seen anyone come for any of my neighbors that are professional, responsible gun owners' guns. I've never seen it. I don't care what the law says, what politicians say, we're coming for this and that. I've just never seen it happen. So I think, number one, I call bullshit on that. I think that's just a ploy to get people to, again, like Ruth said earlier, divide even more. You get people shook up saying, hey, they're going to take this, they're going to take that. Nobody does that. It just
not that organized.
Right, unless they know like you're the mob or you're a criminal or you're a gang and they come in your house and that thing. But other than that, nobody is trying to take a responsible gun owner's gun. So let's just get that myth and stop saying that. For all you jacked up dirty politics and high-priced prostitutions up there in D.C., y'all need to stop saying these narratives. I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, Independent. I don't care. Stop saying it because that is not true. I'm almost 70 years old, and I've never seen it happen. It's not going to happen. Nobody out there is going to take anybody's gun away. The Second Amendment is here to stay. It will be here. Having said that, why do you think so many people are still so afraid of that, and they use that to cling on to.
I little bit disagree. I mean, I agree with the general thought process. I just don't, even if they wanted to, I know they're just so incapable of doing anything useful to do anything on mass that they couldn't do it. They just don't have the capacity, capability, or the willpower to do anything for anyone ever.
Right.
But like, because I mean, but the thing is, I will say, to give a little bit of credence to the other side that do believe that, is that I believe that words matter. So when a politician or your president says something, like, you know, recently our current president, Joe Biden, did say we should, he said something about banning handgun. I'm like, why would you say that out loud, sir? That, you know these people, you can't, stop. Like, why are you like this? Like, just go to sleep, take a nap, sir. Just don't do that. Like, why? And then people will on the left will say we should get rid of guns. We should I'm like, get rid of the Second Amendment. I'm like, yeah, that's why they're freaking people out. Like, if you say stuff like that, yeah, why would, if you say that, and the people that don't trust you, why wouldn't they take you at your word at face value? So if you don't want people to believe that, stop saying that nonsense. Stop telling them that. Because one, our government, they can't do it. They can try. I mean, if they really wanted, they're already taking away your rights. They're already taking away your, tracking you, and they can do whatever they want to you. So your gun, honestly, probably won't protect you much. Yeah. I don't care how many you have. They won. They're gonna win. You're outgunned, outmanned 100% by our current government. So even if they come for your guns, if they want them, they'll take them. So at the end of the day, there's nothing you can do.
Well said, Rube.
I feel, in response to Jess, I feel that what they're doing is creating another volatile mindset. If they can't get them riled up about oppression or something else, they're going to get them riled up about taking away their Second Amendment rights. So it just deepens the division, and it makes both sides angry, and it puts another situation at hand where they have to say, now see, we have to control you. You guys are all afraid. Once again, they use fear and they use anger against us to keep us from realizing what's going on. And the more you keep us divided, the weaker we are as a country. And that's why we get nowhere, because everybody's too angry and too afraid to do a darn thing, or to sit down and be like, hey, this is a problem. I don't like this and I don't like that. I get that you like this and you like that, but we both definitely don't like this one thing.
Amen.
Let's work together on that and forget about all the other things we don't agree on. We can focus on that later. Everybody's too busy.
Well said.
And that's kind of like how we've talked about everything. It's like, we don't have to agree on everything, but like there might be something we do. Why can't they just do that part? Do the piece that you do agree on. And the majority of people in the country believe that, okay, you kind of do like you don't want to get rid of, how about y'all just directly ask us? Put it on the ballot. Something that they can't agree on, fine. If y'all can't get it done in Congress, then why don't leave it up to actual democracy and kick it back to the people. Let us vote on it.
And historically, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Historically, when you look at countries that start restricting the access of means to protect oneself to the population, that is the beginning of when you start looking at a dictatorship. You watch, earliest reference, Argentina had an issue, and then you have a common reference everybody keeps making, World War II, the Nazis. They took over everything. The average person couldn't have a weapon. And it didn't start one day. Someone just woke up and said, screw the Jews, screw everybody else that doesn't fit our bill of perfect. We're going to kill everybody. It started slow. They started taking away these things and restricting access to certain things. And before they knew it, the population that wasn't deemed undesirable had guns to their heads and was forced to turn over family and friends or get killed. People were fleeing for their lives. So when you take away the means to protect oneself, you leave an open door for a more easily controlled population. So I get where the Second Amendment enthusiasts are so worried about that.
And I think it also comes up because there's an increased feeling among all people in this country, left, right, everything in between, is one thing we all agree on is that we do not have we don't have a lot of trust in our government or government agencies, no matter who was in power. People feel very depressed about the current state of things. They don't think the country's going in the right direction. For a lot of people feel that way, regardless of where you are on the political spectrum. And when you had, I think the Brady bill, the first assault weapons ban, the faith in government and trust in government was a lot higher than now it's at an abysmal level. So and then other countries like Australia or other countries where they're able to do like weapon buyback, assault rifle, buyback programs, or come and literally take up guns after a mass shooting incident. The people in those countries had a lot of trust, felt very secure in a lot of faith in their governments. So if you have a decreased, if you don't trust your government's intentions, you don't believe that you feel safe in that country, then you're not going to willingly give up your weapons. So if people in those who really believe that what we need to do is get rid of assault rifles, we need to limit access to that, then you need to make your government someone that people actually trust and trust their intentions, that they're not going to use that to then come after you and force you to do something you don't want to do. So that is also on the government, which is why I'm like, I know they ain't going to do that. So I don't have any faith. Why your point, Zach? That's why I'm they're ever going to take away, because they can't do that. They can't make us believe them and trust them. They can't do it. They're not qualified. I'll take them seriously.
Yeah, and two things I want to double back on. We're hanging out with Ruth from Georgia, Jay down here in North Carolina, and we're talking about this domestic terrorism, gun laws, and things like that, and just being sensible and just kicking it. Again, our opinions do not express StreamYard or Facebook or YouTube. I got to put that disclaimer out. These are just our opinions. But I like, Rube, when you said it's just another way for the man to steal while they sticking us with the deal. In other words, divide and conquer. Look at this hand, but this hand is going to be stealing everything. And this is how it's been working. And now if we let you wake up and we let all y'all come together, it's only 1% of us that own 99% of the wealth, but you guys actually have all the power, but we got to keep you distracted with, how much LeBron James is making or what the Kardashians' lips look like. And if a Kardashian walked up to me, I'm very happy to say I've never seen any reality TV show other than sports. So I wouldn't know, because I don't buy into that, because my third eye is up. They ain't making me go to sleep. I'm not walking around down here sleeping. I see you. And I agree, Jay, that they could, but they don't want to, but then they fake like they want to. Now, in this country,
it's too profitable. They make too much. I mean, left or Democrat, it's too much money. Why would they do? They're capitalists first. These people are greedy. They see green more than anything else. Why would they? Would never. They make too. If guns didn't make them any money, if it was literally, if no one bought them or they didn't care, if people were into them, they would sell the Second Amendment in a heartbeat if it wasn't profitable.
Right, exactly.
It was profitable.
Exactly.
Any day.
Exactly. And Mark's going to bring up this stat. I'm going to let him chat on this for a second when he pops on. But one thing I wanted to mention that I just find fascinating, I don't know why this is, but maybe you ladies can elaborate. In other countries, I have friends in Australia, Germany, and they have their little dust-ups and gun violence and this and that, right? But like Rube mentioned, when you come for the people's arms and you take their right away to bear arms, then both of you said the same thing. It's like, well, we don't trust you, so you could come in my house and do whatever you want. So I got to protect me and my family. I get that, and I'm for that. I'm for that. I understand that concept. And we say, oh, well, we have mental illness problems over here. Australia got mental illness problems. Oh, well, over here, it's such a thing, and it's my right to bear arms. Yes, it's your right, and we want you to bear them responsibly. But Australia, Germany, these mass hysterical things that are manifested in such an evil way don't happen in other places. And Rube, you've been out of the country. You just said before earlier, you came back, you was like, damn, fuck America, damn. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
I don't know if she said all that. Hold on. I don't know if she said
that was my New York interpretation of it. That was my New York interpretation of it. Because she couldn't say it. I'm saying it for her. She's like, wow, why are we so amped up?
Yeah.
What do y'all think about that before we get Mark Lee in with this amazing stat?
I think that there is even other people that come here mention the incredibly hurried mindset, the right here, right now, now, I need it now, me first. You know, everything is just so hurried and so high pressure here. I remember going to Germany after I graduated high school, and it's a little different, you know, but people didn't seem to be as last minute there. You know, you don't roll out of bed and you're halfway late for work and then you got to hurry in traffic. People seem to handle things a little more responsibly. It seems like Americans definitely are a little more self-involved in that aspect. They want to roll out of bed and take their time and get mad at people in traffic because they're the ones that started their day late.
Yeah.
But I definitely think that the hurried mindset that we harbor here doesn't help. It sets everything up for a higher stress environment. It sets everything up to be a little more volatile. You know, you go out to eat and someone gets mad if they don't have their food in 15 minutes. You go to another country and it's acceptable for it to take 45 minutes to reach your table. You go out to eat. You are there to enjoy the experience. You don't run in somewhere, get angry because the food isn't ready, and then run out the door.
Amen. I like that because, you know, I practice a lot of Buddhism and self-awareness and, you know, try to keep my chakras aligned and the music game and everything. And I was just meditating the other day with a friend of mine on Thursday night. You know, we went to a concert and, you know, it got rained out and we were just sitting back, you know, on a porch, smoking a doob, just relaxing and just checking out the vibe and enjoying the moment. No cell phones, you know, were on. So, you know, I love you ladies for coming on and speaking your mind about this because this subject is the first this season and we're going into our third season, which is a miracle unto itself. But kudos to Mark and, you know, because 3 seasons, we're going into our third season, which maybe we just had our second anniversary. So who knew? But this is the first conversation we've had about this. And it comes off the heels of Uvalde, Buffalo, and, you know, all these other places. So, Mark, I want you to jump on and share this statistic that you pulled up about the average age of the gun violence in these schools is 16 years old. My producer, Mr. Mark Lee, been with me from the first go. And then we're going to get rid of that stat and then just chop it up a little bit with the ladies. But tell us a little bit about your opinion about this stat, and then we'll let them go ahead and get on that.
Yeah, well, one of the things I was thinking about, and I was bringing it up in the chat and everything, is, and y'all had actually alluded to it a little bit earlier, was how many of these school violence places or the places that have been happening have been in high schools and junior highs and places along those lines, which we also know oftentimes have school resource officers. And I sometimes wonder whether those school resource officers are placed more in our inner cities than they are in some of our suburbs and richer areas and all along those lines. So I sometimes wonder if that doesn't play into the picture as well. So that was actually one of the questions that I was wondering what the ladies have to think about this as well, because I do know that there are a lot of school resource officers. And then I had a question about the congressman as well that was, as I was listening to y'all's very enlightening conversation.
I've always had a school resource officer in all of my schools, and I went to suburban schools. And I knew them. I knew my school, especially when I remember high school. Like they were very much involved in our daily lives. I mean, I was also a very bad student. I was a bad child. I was rebellious. And when my principal would send me notices to come talk to her, I'd be like, I'll talk to her later. I got to go right now. And then, if I don't make it by that first period, my Miss Officer Johnson or Officer Robinson, they come in and say, hey, they come to the door, knock, like, look at me. I'm like, all right, let's go. I was waiting for you to escort me. I was waiting. I knew. I liked them. They were, we also had, they were very involved in our school life. I don't know if they carried a gun. I can't remember, but I was never afraid of them. There were 2 black officers, Officer Robinson, female, and Officer Johnson, male, and they were fun. They were hilarious. They played with us. They hung out with us. We respected them, but they didn't. I mean, they're not. If we got into a fight, they probably break it up. And they talked to me like I was my uncle and my aunt. So they had that kind of vibe. They would deal with us. So that's the relationship I had in my school, but I'm not sure that's like that in every other school. There's definitely, I can see I've heard plenty of stories where there is patterns of abuse where a police officer or a school resource officer kind of comes in, isn't that integrated with the student body and treats the kids like they're criminals. Mine didn't. They treated us like we were their kids.
And like I said, one of the things that I've noticed is that some of the school resource officers I know here in Durham, they are also from some of our police law enforcement agencies. So they will actually come in already suited up as they would be in their sheriff's outfits and some of those things. So they do have guns with them at least.
I want to hear from Rube on that question, Mark.
You know, I went to a few different schools when I was younger. One of them was South Gwinnett High School. And that one was notorious for having some high conflict situations among the massive student body. They had actual police on site. And then I went to Oconee County High School, which is a country middle of nowhere. You know, it's a farming town. It's a nice high school, but I wouldn't say it's, you know, upper class. It's just there's been such a small student body, it didn't age that much. They had officers there as well, but I would say the difference between, you know, South Gwinnett, they were definitely more present. I didn't seem to notice them. I just knew these two people in the background of my school life in Oconee that were officers that were there for our safety. You know, you didn't have run-ins with them. They just pretty much stayed at the same place in the morning and the same place in the evening. They patrolled around, you know, but there wasn't really much of an issue there like there was at South Gwinnett. And they had many more. And they had their actual police cars parked there as well. Whereas the officers in Oconee, I don't think I ever saw a police car.
I'd like to add real quick, Mark, then I'll let you finish, to show you how times have changed, right? In New York, where I went to school at, in Bayshore, Long Island, they used to give us ways to channel our aggression. Like, if you wanted to, before school started, they had 45 minutes you could go in the gym and play, shoot basketball. We used to have full court basketball games before school even started. And that didn't count our regular gym class. And then we would have just this creative time to where they called it a free period, where you could go to the music room, you could go to the art room, you could sit up and talk to your friends in the stands or whatever. So I think because of the pressurized situations that we're in now, and obviously the budgets and everything with schools, which is deplorable, by the way, teachers should be getting paid $1 million, not, you know, LeBron James to shoot a basketball. Much as I love Steph Curry, you know, I'm sure he's doing the right thing, but hey, come on, 30 million, let's be real. But
I mean, hey, I love
he's a bad boy though. I'm repping the Dubs.
Let's go, just go, Steph. Come on.
I'm repping the Dubs. You know I'm repping the Dubs. You
I
know
love to watch them.
Rapping the Dubs. I love them. Okay, so Steph can make his. But what I'm saying is, to be truthful, we had different ways. And even when we got into fights in school, a lot of times the gym teacher would make us wrestle just to get out our aggression. They don't do stuff like that anymore. Like, there are no, and I noticed when things started changing, New York had one of the most prestigious trade schools in junior high school and high school that you could do. So there was aggression where you could push something on a saw. You know, you could do these things. Girls would be in the bakery, you know, baking, which I hung out in the cooking class because the ladies and I'm a player, you know. So making me pancakes and eggs. But these things.
Let's go be in woodshop class. I mean, hey, yes. Girls, yeah, direction too. I've been in my fights.
Yes, so you know.
I'll get it out.
Right, exactly. And we don't do that. So it's a whole breakdown. But Mark, I'm gonna let you go ahead and kick this. I just wanted to add that. Thank you for this wonderful stat.
No, I agree with y'all and everything, but definitely as I was even thinking about what you were just saying, because we're growing up in a rural town here in North Carolina, because actually the town I grew up in was a rural town, even though I was born here in Durham and have been most of my life in Durham. I actually went to school in Warrenton. And I remember that our assistant principal was actually the one that kind of would be the enforcer and all of that. And he was also, as I recall, the assistant football coach as well. So he was the one that when there was a drug incident that was going on, because I remember one kid that was definitely amped up, and I guess it was off of heroin at that time, because that would have been the late 70s and everything. He definitely was the one that enforced and got that person under control. And then maybe they took him down to the police force later on, but it was not a police officer there because it was a rural town. So like I said, our coaches, similar to what you were going through, were the ones that were the ones taking care of folks in that situation. One of the things I was curious to hear from Ruby and Jay about, and y'all kind of alluded to it, is that there is a lot of, you mentioned the folks that are in power and how long they can stay in power. And like I said, the president can be there for, I think the minimum or the maximum is 2 terms, which is 8 years and all of that, but the congressman can be there forever. So I'm actually a big fan that we need to get some term limits on some of these Congress people. But I was also wondering what your thoughts are about the lobbies, because I think that the gun lobby is also paying off a lot of these people. That's just my personal opinion, but I'd love to hear your thoughts about this. And it's not just the gun, it's also the drug lobbies and other lobbies as well. I'd love to hear both of y'all as to what we can do to control these lovely, powerful lobbies.
The war, it was mentioned earlier, there was the war on drugs, and I guess, we're possibly looking at the war on guns. I think that is the biggest crock of crap ever. It really is a funnel for money. You declare war on something, you actually do something about it, not stand around and complain about it. And I think war essentially boils down to, as Jess mentioned before, poor conflict resolution. Boy, there's a lot of evidence of that. Like with the schools, they gave you outlets for aggression. I think lobbies are just a means to suck and funnel money and to pull the same magic trick of like, look over here, woo-hoo. It's just a distraction. Mm-hmm. It doesn't really get anywhere. What are you doing to stop it? We've done nothing.
Yeah, these gun lobbies, a lot of them will fund different political campaigns, most of them Republican, but some also those fund Democratic campaigns and give them, to help them stay in power. And they're like, oh, we'll give you a lot of money, but you can't, and we'll help you win or fight off your opponents for you, help you outspend them, but only if you put forth our agenda and you don't sign bills that are going to take away gun rights or we want you to sign legislation that's going to chip away on the gun restrictions we do have in place. And the reason it's not because they care about the Second Amendment. I mean, I don't think that's what they're really about. I think it's because they're like, we can make money. This is lucrative. This is a business. I mean, why wouldn't you? If I'm in any industry, and you're able to spend money to help influence people to make the rules, you're kind of incentivized. It's why money and politics they go hand in hand, and why there's so much corruption. Because if I really care about if I'm environmentalist, right? I care. Maybe it's a little too on the nose, but like solar, or whatever it is. But if I'm in any industry and I want to make rules a little bit lax so I can make more money, why wouldn't I spend money to make that happen? I mean, I understand their point of view, but we need to limit the ability for politicians to take in money from lobbies, from outside. It has to be like direct, the grassroots individual people. I get corporate money out of politics, and there needs to be laws on that. But again, that is in no politician's self-interest. They're not going to do that because they're like, why would I take less money? They get kickbacks from that, or we'll fund you a little bit. We'll give you a little bit on the back end, so you're making money off that, and then incentivizes them to it funds their lavish lifestyles. I mean, they don't make a lot of money in Congress. I mean, they do, but they don't. That's not why they're there. Whatever that salary we said in the beginning is not why they're in politics. That's not why they're there. It's the stuff that it's the lavish, it's the back end stuff, the little sweetheart deals. It's the under the table money. That's we're giving you a hint about the stock market so you can go ahead and get make sure.
Amen. Yep.
Pelosi's husband, he is a master. He teaches a master class on running the stock market. He's just somehow, some way, he just knows when to sell and when to buy, and he always makes the right decision. It's insane. I can't imagine him having anybody in maybe his wife or anyone in power that would be able to give him notes on when to purchase stock. So, all that being said, I think we need to focus on getting limit lobbyists' ability to fund campaigns or to fund politicians. But to do that, you have to have politicians that are willing to sign that bill. And I don't think there's no appetite for that. That's not their, like, but I will have my boat though. Like, I can't, what about my private plane, my boat, my yacht, you know? I can't go on a vacation if I don't, you know, get rid of my paycheck. So I get it. They're not going to do it.
And before we get to this next segment, and you ladies, man, have been great. We got a little bit more time, and please stay with us for a little bit if you can. Rube, I appreciate you from Georgia. Jay jumping in from North Carolina. Mark, my producer. Funk from the Front Seat, Not on the Grind TV. Every Saturday at 12 p.m. We'll be right here. I got a question that I want to pose that I think every red-blooded American, we should all agree on this. And if we're going to storm the Capitol, we should storm it on this thing. I think instead of them spending all of this money and BSing us about this, why can't, like, when the 50s and 60s and 70s came along, somebody said, hey, asbestos in schools is no good. Let's take it all out. In apartment buildings and everywhere else. We all agreed on that. The particles in your lungs are going to kill us. And then somebody said, you know what? We need universal fire laws. So let's put in smoke detectors in every school. Universally, we all agreed on that. After 9/11, the cluster F that was, the whole country federalized the ambulance and police and firemen. So now when you get sick and you fall and sprain your ankle, you got fire trucks and EMS people coming to your house. We all agreed on that. So why can't we all agree that in every school there should just be a metal detector with a powerful, this is my idea, with a powerful enough magnet to where if you're not authorized to carry a weapon, you walk through any door and a metal thing comes over you and covers you, like in the future. We have this stuff. I'm sending people on the space shuttle, building houses and colonizing Mars. You mean to tell me I can't protect my kids in school with some kind of giant metal thing? In New York, they started this in the 70s. The banks had revolving doors. When they used to rob a bank, they used to say, no, let them go and get in revolving doors. The revolving door was bulletproof. They would be stuck there. It would stop. It would freeze them. Two things would come out of the bottom, two things would come out the top, and the criminal was locked in. They do this in banks a lot. They have safe rooms for the employees, and they lock the criminal in the bank. So why are we not having this in schools? I know it can be done because I seen the space shuttle.
Oh, Zach,
yeah, I mean, we have school. I mean,
let them go.
Yeah. I mean, I think I agree. Our schools should be a lot more secure than they are. But I mean, I went to a fairly well-off school district. Even still, our school, they didn't have enough money. I mean, they could afford a jumbotron, you know, pay it out of pocket, but they couldn't, you know, expand the building. We took a lot of our classes were in trailers right next to, you know, it was because they just couldn't build on the school because we had so much growth in such a short amount of time. I mean, how do you protect that? I mean, you have people that have secondhand school books. They have the you know, it takes for even the lockers or the floors or, you know, crumbling infrastructure. Plenty of schools have had to shut down because they still have asbestos in the walls. You know, I mean, Flint, they're still sick up there. I mean, they don't spend the money on even just on infrastructure that we do need. So I can't imagine. There's so many physical school buildings. But I don't think because they're not going to spend the money. So you have. They're not going to do it.
I was going to say, but if the federal government is spending all of this money on anti-ads or pro-ads over a period of time, just in my lifetime, they would have billions of dollars to update this stuff, just like they did for fire stuff, whatever. Like we all agreed seatbelts are important. They got tired of people being thrown out of cars because the car company said, listen, people are dying. They're not going to come back and buy my car. So if we're cutting down our population in schools and there's not going to be enough kids, is it a way of population control at an early age that they don't want to stop it? Rube, I definitely want to hear your opinion on this. And Mark, I'll let you get into it.
Yeah. Oh, you started jumping down closer to the rabbit hole.
I gotta go.
With this.
What I do.
Here we go.
You know, if they solve that problem, they don't have that fear or that conflict to continue perpetuating to use against us. I mean, just think about how much conflict and how much division school shootings and the issue around guns has already created. If they get rid of school shootings, well, innocent children aren't dying anymore. So, it's another issue where people kind of relax and can kind of come back together again despite differing opinions. So why solve a problem when they benefit more from leaving it broken?
Amen. That's what I wanted to hear. And I like that opinion because that's the absolute way that I see it. And that's just my opinion. Mark, jump in there, brother.
I was going to agree with both of y'all, but I do remember an old movie. I love my old movies. It's called Lean on Me, and they actually did have metal detectors, as I recall, in that particular movie and everything. So, yeah, they could do that in schools around the country to stop people from actually bringing the guns in. It would cost money, but damn, Chucks, we're spending billions on some of these other things, including some of the things in our military that are sitting idle, because some of them we're actually using, but some of them we're spending billions on and we're not actually using them, or if we're using them, we're not using them as much. So definitely we could do that. And I also love how they sometimes will have, and I don't know whether the ladies will agree with me or not, but I'd love to hear their thoughts about it, what I call red herring arguments as well, because we've seen the gun issue come up at the same time that we've also got Roe versus Wade. So if you hear that some of the people, they would try to bring the the whole picture and everything and try to be like, if you're doing it in one form of fashion, if you're killing somebody and that you're not killing them with the guns, and they try to make these crazy parallels and all of that. But I'd love to hear what the ladies have to say.
I mean, it has been a fun couple of years on Culture War. I mean, they just keep finding ways. I'm like, y'all are incredible. I mean, I gotta congratulate and give them a round of applause. I mean, they are so good at this. I'm like, the two biggest traditional left-right culture war, the OG culture war items we've been fighting over for decades: abortion and gun control or gun rights. Y'all have them in the same year. It's amazing. Well done, guys. Genius.
I agree.
We have new ones too. I'm like, how does y'all? I mean, we just went through a pandemic where we had this old, a pandemic that's like we're doing this whole retro thing. We're having a mass pandemic. Then you got like the kind of a civil rights 2.0 movement. Then you got like everyone's rioting and insurrection. Like y'all are just. It's just y'all bringing all this old stuff. It's the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 60s, and now we're doing all the 70s again. This is fun. No, it's great. It's good.
Remember, this is the planet where chaos happens. So keep your crystals handy. Stay prayed up. Whatever spiritual thing everybody got inside, I suggest we all kind of like lean to that and be kind. Here we are, 4 different people, 4 different backgrounds, all come from different places, walks of life, education, what have you. And we can find common ground. And if we were running the government, there would be no issues, because I would go to Rube, I would go to Jay, and I would go to Mark, and I'd be like, Mark, listen, I got this problem, right? I keep going to the store, but they don't have my shoe size. And Mark is like, and Jay and Ruby like, well, you can't go to work in bare feet. Let's try to fix that. It's as simple as that. But see, they don't want that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all would have empathy for me, because you would simply say, well, hey, that doesn't make any sense. So these are things that don't make sense. But like Rube said, and like you all guys agree, they don't want to stop it. So before we get into our Black Music History Month, because it is Black Music Month, so we're going to highlight Earth, Wind & Fire a little bit today, and just to have a little blurb on it. But this conversation is so riveting, I can't stop it just yet. But Mark, get that ready. But I have one other question, because as we're talking, I'm writing down notes and jotting down notes, because you guys have so many interesting things to say. When we look at the law themselves, right? How can we, it's a weird thing, because I'm thinking like, okay, if we don't vote at all, then they say you're not using your voice. But like Jay said earlier, when you do vote and your voice ain't even heard, they're not doing what we want anyway.
I'm so annoyed with that, because a lot of people that are disconnected, they'll say, oh, if only you guys will vote, just vote. I'm like, okay, but right now, if you're a Democrat, you're the left-leaning person, right? Or think about in 2008 when Obama became president. He had the presidency, Democrats had a supermajority in the House. They had the Senate. So, okay, we got it all. Did we? What happened? Not much. I mean, it was my favorite. I love him. Hey, stop. I love my president. That was my guy. But I will admit, a lot of things was not able to accomplish much. From Trump came into office, right? He had the House. He hit all of them. Now he got a lot of things done that he wanted to do, but really it wasn't that much different than typical Republican, standard issue Republican thing, the tax cuts for the whatever. Now now we're back in power again. The Democrats are. Biden, they have enough of a majority, small, and Senate in the House. Nothing, less than nothing. I'm like, so it doesn't matter. I mean, more people have voted in this last election than ever before, and yet it doesn't do anything. So I wish people would stop saying, don't just vote. That's not the point. Everyone's voting. Most people are furious about how divided, it's just inefficient and just do nothing our government is, no matter if you're on the left or the right. It's disgusting all around.
Rube, jump in there.
It's not the people. It's the politicians.
That's right.
It's the candidates.
Rube, jump in.
I feel like a lot of our voting is, at this point, is kind of a setup. I've noticed all of this conflict over, whoop, we found some votes, but don't worry, the count's still the same. So I feel like a lot of this is a setup to make us feel better, because just how many people actually are voting for or against a certain situation, and it actually, the majority wins. I don't think that system is as efficient as it's intended to be.
Amen. Mark.
Totally inefficient. I agree with what Rube just said and everything, because I do sometimes think that, well, one, the popular vote doesn't always win, because we do know that in both the case of Al Gore and in the case of, I believe it was Hillary, that the popular vote actually went to the losing person and all of that, or the vote, the person that won with was actually the losing person. They had less of the popular vote, but they still won because of that lovely thing called the Electoral College. So I personally think that we've got to change some of that as well, because right now it's all being determined by the Electoral College in the way that they've got that structured. You can actually win the majority of the vote and not be the president. Case in point, definitely, like I said, Hillary Clinton and Al Gore. So that's two cases in point and all of that. So definitely we've got to just change the entire system, and it does get very frustrating. I do think that a lot of people do two types of voting that frustrate me to some degree, and I don't know whether Zach's going to agree with me or not, but definitely one of them is what Rube just described, which is voting against somebody. It's not voting for anybody. You're actually voting against a person and all of that. And then the other thing is that we have people that vote straight line tickets without even thinking about what the actual policies and what the actual procedures and things of that nature are going to be, because we've got a lot of PACs and other kind of groups, everything from the Sierra Club to the various PACs and different other things, that people will hand them a sheet and they'll say, hey, I'm just going to vote straight ticket, whatever y'all tell me to vote, and all of that. So that can also be very frustrating, and I've been rallying against that on several platforms, because I'm sitting there going like, I'm not saying you have to know every issue. It's impossible unless you're going to be a politician to know every issue, but at least have some core beliefs that
or take some time
to vote for.
Yeah, download the ballot ahead of time. That's what I do. I always take it maybe a week or two before. If I'm, look at who's on the candidate list and do the primaries. Definitely do. Now, don't just wait till the actual election where it's between parties. Make sure you're voting in the primary race as well, so you have more candidates. You can make a more informed decision and get better candidates.
That's right. And two quick things, and then Mark, we're gonna pull up Earth, Wind, and Fire. We got about 10 minutes left. These ladies have been so kind and so nice, and I appreciate you guys for sharing, this little bit of time with us. Rube from Georgia and your military family. I appreciate you guys. You guys served, and thank you from the bottom of my heart. Jay as well for introducing me to Rube. So now I have another friend, and welcome to the Funk from the Front Seat family, Rube. You and your family are always welcome here to ride with me in the front seat. Real quick, with Jay, when you said Obama was your guy, most people that were newcomers voting for the first time, whatever, I'm old enough to know Ronald Reagan, and Obama was basically the black version of Ronald Reagan. Mm-hmm. Same policies, And you and Mark study this history, and I know, Rube, you know, same everything. So basically, he was a Republican, but he was in a Democrat suit.
Yeah.
Let's get that out the way. And then Biden, we all knew Uncle Joe was going to fall asleep after he ate that turkey and the tryptophan hit. We all knew at Thanksgiving Uncle Joe was going to go to sleep. He watched the first half of the football game with us. He had the big Thanksgiving meal. He made it through half the day. But, of course, his age, and this is nothing against age because I'm a senior citizen, but I don't have to run the country. See what I'm saying? I just got to run my little business.
I mean, everybody's so old. I'm like, what happened to have a younger dude? Like,
yes,
they're just
yes,
old. And I mean,
yes.
I had my expectations were very, very low. I just thought the world was in chaos. Like, we need somebody. He's been in government his whole life. Like, he knows he was there when like the microwave was invented. I'm like, he knows basic. He might be because he's like he's that old.
He used to drink tea with Einstein. Yo,
Jaws, the old like crazy was the cap. I can't remember the captain's name in Jaws. With the old broken down boat. You know,
Quint.
He was that guy. That's who he is.
Yes.
He's crazy. He's the old school. Don't believe it.
Farewell in the doom.
Yeah, that's how I see it. That's how I saw him. Best case scenario was that he can just kind of get us back on a little bit of track. I don't expect any progress, new ideas, but
I love it.
I think even that's kind of falling apart. I'm like, oh, bro,
and this is just a sidebar because this is such a great conversation.
Right, I know it's a whole different topic.
No, I love it. But where is my girl, Kamala? Where?
Yeah, Kamala's.
Can't look.
I'm looking for her. Where are you at? Do something.
Where's Carmen Sandiego?
Lie to me.
Where's Carmen Sandiego? Where's Kamala? But and I don't know that the ladies are going to agree with me on this and everything. But part of the problem is I think that the younger voices and the times that we have had younger voices and everything, they haven't always been the best at keeping themselves safe, and I'll just put it that way. And I think that that's part of the reason that we sometimes go for the older candidates, because if we think about those younger voices, they were also a little bit on the player side. JFK, Clinton, and others were also on the player side. So
don't hate the player, hate the game.
They were better. Hey, they were better politicians. They were good at it because they were young. I mean, we feel about Obama knew how to give a speech. Obama knew how to make you feel. I mean, he may not be doing much, but I wanted something that could make me feel like
you could sleep at night,
like an adult was in the room. Felt like okay, I don't know what y'all are doing up there, but it seems like y'all probably got a better idea than I do. You know, like you go to your doctor and he seems competent. I need you to. Even though the nurse is there with me the most time, he's just kind of just looking it over. Yeah, it seems fine, but I feel like he knows what he's talking about. Now, he might not know. I might find out later he's a liar, but I want to feel like you know kind of what you're talking about. A lot of times that's business. If you seem like you know what you're doing, you know. I know everyone at all points, you're all lying to me. You're all liars, and you're kind of trying to, do the smoke and mirrors and red herrings and keep us distracted. We know we're getting screwed. We know that. But I don't want to see it. I don't want to know how the sausage is mixed. I'm not going to be able to fix it. Put on a good show.
I got to tell y'all this real quick.
Don't go hurt me.
I got to tell y'all this real quick. I was talking to my bass player, Al, in Florida, and he did some tries with me. We was laughing on the phone the other day. We call each other laugh all the time, like we are now. Sitting around, and I was like, yo, he's like, is it me? I said, nah, I didn't agree with all the politics and antics. I know about DT. He was from Queens, New York. I said, man, I would have this guy selling my T-shirts and hats. He's the best salesman I ever seen. Okay. And for my band, right?
He's a comedian.
I said, I miss what was going to happen the next day because it was so crazy, even though I didn't agree with it. But it seems like we went from one extreme to the other. And it's like every day I wake up, I'm like, do we have a president?
That's kind of what we wanted, though. We felt like it was too much. Because Obama was very much like a statesman, had that very much presidential vibe. Trump is none of those things. He says whatever comes, the first thought that's unformed.
He was wide open.
He lied to your. All politicians lie, but he lies in a way I've never seen before. Like politicians are usually like, well, I said this. They like to play wordplay. Trump, but you show him what he said. You were playing a recording. He's like, oh, Trump didn't say that. People say Trump's. I'm like, you are Trump, though. That's not. Why are you confusing me? He's good. He's funny.
Because he was that kind of player.
And then I think after all the chaos of 2020, the pandemic, all this chaos, you're like, okay, we like that. That's entertaining in good times, but when everything's crazy, I just wanted some quiet. I wanted there to be a quiet president.
Less noise, yeah.
Bring it down. Everyone's out of control. Let's get a quiet. Maybe we don't really need a president. We need to just kind of.
We needed a nap. We needed a nap.
So we got a nap, and now we know what that's like. We're like, oh, this sucks too. So
It does suck.
it sucks.
It does suck. We needed a nap, but we woke up and we're like, "Where's the party?"
Yeah, we're like, I get to the nap, and now I'm like, this sucks. Wake up. Somebody needs to be
Zach,
flying this plane. Nobody. All right.
Zach and Jay, the last uncle figure that we had, and this was a long time ago. Well, some people might say that Bush was an uncle figure, but if you want to go way back, it was the Roosevelts, and definitely Theodore Roosevelt. So maybe Joe needs to do like some fireside chats or something like that to at least let us know that he's alive and well and all of that. Because he doesn't even do that. So maybe he needs to like have some fireside chats the way that Roosevelt did.
You fall asleep though. That's the problem. You know what I'm saying? We needed, in my opinion, we need to merge. We need to, if we could clone people and send people to Mars, they need to ask all of us in this country to contribute a gene to this clone president we're going to make. So everybody can kind of make, you see what I'm saying? Jay, you know where I'm going. Because you know I'm an alien, I'm scientific. So y'all don't know I'm a hybrid. We do all this stuff on my planet. We make the people that we need to make. Because I'm like, okay, I saw Uncle Joe in Uvalde. And I was like, okay, he's down there. You gotta go there. Then he disappeared. And the next thing I knew, he was overseas. But I don't know what he was talking about or who he was talking to and what the purpose was. I was like, what are you doing over there? You know, maybe you need a vacation. But we got so many domestic issues here. We need to start bringing that gray area a little bit together, just so we can breathe and catch our breath.
I feel like now that there's so much media, there's so much, we get such quick news. He does not work in the digital age. Because if you wanted to have a quiet, because you needed someone where news would get to you slowly. Because he works like that. He works when there's, I don't think, did they even have printing presses back? I don't even think, I have no idea. When
he's doing the typewriter thing.
Yeah, it was it's been a while. So he's they still putting up signs, like they making adjustments on putting it on the, the broadside of like a building, kind of writing it in.
Ladies, I have to ask you this, and Rube, I'm gonna start with you. When are we gonna have the first woman president?
I don't know, but she needs to not make herself make a fool of herself.
I mean, they all make.
I feel like there's a lot of expectations, and there's going to be a lot of scrutiny, just like with Obama. I was not a fan of Hillary being the first woman president. I think that there is possibly a better candidate out there, especially someone that doesn't have there's a lot of conflict with the Clinton family as far as their doings and their involvements. So I think that there could be someone that would be a better candidate. Not sure who it is yet. I've
been telling people for years, I like Liz Cheney. I've always liked her. I like her. But a lot of people hate her. But I always thought that was a family with integrity. As far as integrity goes, that I could see. I mean, her dad, he was kind of like, whatever,
They get
but
stuff done for sure.
Huh?
They get shit done for sure. The Cheneys, yeah, there's something.
Yeah, there was something there. Like Mark said, they was like the Roosevelts. But again, I don't know who it could be. I just want somebody. I don't want Kanye West. I don't want Jay-Z and, Beyonce running the country. I mean, but again, Stevie Wonder.
Beyonce be fun though. Come on, Beyonce.
She'd be fun. She would be.
I think Beyonce be an awesome press. I mean, it's a silly job. I mean, let's have fun. You heard press. Her State of the Union would be amazing. That production. She would do a whole.
Young Hope, y'all know when the flow was loco. Young B in the ROC. Jay-Z come out like that. Yo. State South, federal law, no weapons.
Oh my God, we need to make that happen. Honestly, I think that's what we need. We need the Beyonce and Jay-Z.
I got 99 problems, but it ain't one.
Come on, that would be amazing. Actually, I'm taking it back. I think Beyonce would be an amazing first one.
Well, let's put that on the ballot, Jay. Let's put that on the
Secretary
ballot.
of State. What do you think?
Hip hop for president. How about that?
As Secretary of State.
Yo, if we gonna go that route, I gotta have my man with the crazy clock. I gotta have Flavor Flav. His old ass in there.
Please.
Flavor
I
Flav
want
for
him to be
Secretary of
press
Defense.
I want him to be press secretary.
911 is joking yo town. Chuck D.
Maybe we have a fantasy. Maybe we should make this our next episode. Like
We should. Fantasy, yes.
Like
Chuck D.
Fantasy president, like presidential cabinet. They have fantasy football. You have, this is my dream. I want Beyonce to be president and Jay-Z to be the first man.
Chuck D and Eminem, Minister of Education.
Yes.
I think Eminem could do really great with the grammar section.
Yes.
Creativity, the arts.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
Eminem would flourish.
He's my boy.
So would the youth.
I love him, man. I love him. He be spitting Tupac and Eminem all day. How can we go wrong? See, now we're solving the country. Now we're getting somewhere.
Now we get it. Janet Jackson, Secretary of Energy.
Yes.
Yeah,
All right.
put her in there.
All right.
I can see
Is she gonna pop a button open for me or what? Is she gonna pop a button open for me or what? I don't want that.
The president really is got to be is someone that commands a lot of respect. Has got to be a good leader and good at taking who can do a job. It's just they're mostly just a project manager, a CEO. CEO isn't doing the day-to-day stuff. So you need someone that's going to get people on board that can entertain the masses and get and be. And it does a good job of delivering, and and behind they're actually good at directing people on an agenda that they wrote, they agreed on their agenda. I want someone that's independently wealthy. Beyonce don't need nobody money. Oprah would be a great. Put Oprah in.
She was in my head. I had a job for her.
Oprah
Secretary of Treasury.
Having leaders cry, like she'd be having, like she's like, you know what? She'd come over here. She talked to people like Kim. Come on. Kim.
Right.
What's really going on? Is it the family? Like, she's a great interview. She'd be making you break down and cry in them interviews.
Yeah, I had Oprah as Secretary of the Interior. Because like you said, all I need Oprah to do is do interview after interview in the Oval Office. Come on in, sit on down, and let's solve this problem. Yo,
she had the Canadian Prime Minister on her lap. He'd be crying, just talking. She'd have everybody break like
that's my man.
Feelings. They're like, oh my God, Oprah, you're right. I need to change. I would love that. Televise that. It'd be great.
Now take this house and get out of here.
Come on, right?
Yo, this has been an amazing show. Great show. Mark, we got to put that Earth, Wind & Fire thing up. It's Black History Music Month. So if everybody out there watching this month, we've been highlighting musicians. And this particular group, they're Chicago, LA-based group. Maurice White and those guys are from Chicago. Maurice White played drums for Ramsey Lewis. And for those of you that don't know Ramsey Lewis, you need to look him up. He started there, and this group was such an innovative group. They changed the way radio and music worked because they made songs that were Afro-Cuban, soulful, spiritual, pop songs that nobody was really doing at the time. Unfortunately, the leader, Maurice White, passed away many years ago, but his brother, Verdine, who plays bass, who was actually a classical trained bass player, as well as Philip Bailey and Ralph Johnson, are still part of the group. The original name, believe it or not, was called the Salty Peppers, and then they changed their name to Earth, Wind & Fire after Maurice had made some pilgrimages to Egypt, and they always were, their mantra, that's the way of the world. And they always sang about peace, love, and harmony. A lot of love songs, a lot of energy. Their shows were spectacular. They had the magician David Copperfield in the 70s and 80s used to produce their stage shows. So they had people disappearing, coming back on stage. They had Verdine White playing his bass on the side. They would fly him around on a cable. But this group right here, for those of you that don't know, Google Earth, Wind & Fire. Pull up their songs, get into their music, understand their message because it's very, very pertinent now. And one thing I always dug about Earth, Wind & Fire is that their garb was impeccable. They introduced me to African art and garb. They introduced me to the colors of kente cloth. They introduced us as a young age to this new way, this new style of thinking, and this new style of wearing what you feel. If you look at those brothers and sisters, and there were two beautiful women with them as well, if you look at them, And they also spawned the emotions, and they spawned Pockets, and they spawned Denise Williams, and Maurice White also produced Pieces of a Dream and worked with Phil Collins, this and that. But if you look at their garb says Earth, Wind, and Fire. And they always start this show with the most powerful elements in the universe are Earth, Wind, and Fire. Real quick, your thoughts, then we got to get out of here. I'm going to start with Rube first.
All right. On Earth, Wind, and Fire?
Just
Yeah.
real